Hello and welcome to Blame It on the Draw. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a deck profile on Infernoid Lair of Darkness. It was kind of hard to say. It's a combination, of course, with Infernoids and Lair of Darkness. It's a little bit competitive, but not too competitive, and I'll give you some tips to make it more competitive. So let's go for the monsters, and first things, we have two Infernoid Ononku and two Infernoid Deviati, two Infernoids Attendel, whatever. Infernoids, two Infernoid Sistemas or whatever. One Infernoid Jetty, these names, man. Three Infernoids Patrulia. Yep, man. I just can't nail it. Three Infernoid Harmadic. There you go, Harmadic. Three Infernoid Harmadic. And three Infernoid Decatron, and that's the only one I nailed. And of course, one Infernoid you got a seizure. So first things first, Prometheus. There we go. It's a level 1. Of course, they all do the same, by the way. To summon them, you have to banish one Infernoid monster from your hand or grave, but this one special summons only from the hand. And of course, this is what it does is you can target one set card on the field, and that is a spell. I think a spell, or trap, or anything, and you can just destroy it. And during your opponent's turn, you can just banish. You can tribute one monster, and then banish one of your opponent's cards in the graveyard. They all do the same. All of them do that effect, except for the big ones. And Inferno Decatron, what it does is basically when it's normal or special summon, you can send one Inferno monster from your deck to the grave, and it gains the same level and the same name and the same effects as that monster. So essentially becoming any of all of these monsters, doesn't matter which one it is. And it's a great one because you can use a combination with that to summon him and combo off with another trap I'll show you later. And then you have two Infernoid Harmadic. Harmadic does the same thing, banishing once per turn to your opponent's turn. You can tribute one card, one monster, then target one card your opponent's graveyard, banish it. But this one, what it does is basically what it does is destroy, I think it was one monster on the field, or was it one spell? They all do one effect that is from their own normal effect, and then they have the rest that's just banishing effect. Small one only banishes during your opponent's turn, the big one banishes during either player's turn. And then this one that says you can target one spell trap card on the field and destroy it. This is any spell and trap card. Basically, it's going to be your spell and trap removal if you're not running things like Twin Twisters, which I do recommend you run Twin Twisters, which is a great card in here. But I just didn't run it just in case because I really liked it when it comes to the Infernos being in my hand. And you have Inferno's Jet, and you have same thing. But when this card declares an attack, you can banish one monster from your opponent's extra deck, and your opponent chooses. But you can do the same thing: tribute a monster, and your opponent's in your opponent's turn, and you banish one card on the grave. They're all basically called by the grave. And this one, what it does is if this card attacks the monster opponent's monster, this card can be activated in the end of the battle phase. You can banish one monster on one card on the field or one monster. And they do the same thing. These two do the same thing to banishing. And this one, what it does, you can make a second attack in a row. And they both, this one and the other one I showed you, they can both banish, tribute a monster and banish your opponent's grave during either player's turn. Then you have Ononku and Deviati. Deviati, when it does a special summon, you can destroy all spell and traps in the field, including yours. So you gotta make sure you do this correctly. But during either player's turn, when a monster effect is gonna be activated, you can tribute one monster, and you can negate the activation of a monster effect and banish it, I think. Yes, and if you do banish it. And you have the same thing with Inferno Ononku. And what he does is when he's special summon, he destroys all monsters on the field and all other monsters, not him. And then what it does is you can, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, you can, during this player's turn, you can tribute one monster, negate activation. If you do, banish it. They all basically have the same effect, copy paste everywhere. It's just basically most of them can be summoned from the hand or the grave. And now for the Lair Darkness engine, we have two Darkest Diabolus, Lord of the Lair. You have three Irama, the Wicked Warden, and one Lilith, Lady of Lament. And of course, Lilith giving you the same effect as always. You can tribute one monster, including yourself, and you can just, it has to be a dark monster. And of course, you have to, you can choose three traps that are normal traps, and from there you shuffle them. Your opponent has to choose them randomly, but you only run one set of the same card, so no matter what, your opponent's going to choose the same one. And you have Arima, the Wicked Warden, where you discard him, and you can add one Lair Darkness field spell card from your deck to your hand, or you can tribute him, and you can add something like Darkest Diabolus from your deck to your hand, or you can draw one card, which is a really good searcher and a really good draw power card, and you can use it to tribute your opponent's monster if you have Lair Darkness already in the field. And then of course Lair Darkest Diabolus, where it does his special summons when one of your monsters that is dark is tributed, you can special summon him from your hand or grave, even if not. And once per turn, during your turn, you can just tribute one monster in your field or in your opponent's field. And what it does, your opponent have to send one card from their hand to the grave. And yeah, so no, I think it's back into the deck. I'm sorry, they have to choose one card in their hand back into the deck. I choose it, and you have of course 2 kaijus. It could be any kaiju, but they count as tributing. So if you have Lair of Darkness, your token is going to be summoned no matter what. And of course, this is great for removing anything that's a problem in a board, like link boards or stuff like that with Thunder Dragons and so on. And now we're going to be moving out for the spells. For the spells, we're going to have here 3 Lair of Darkness, which is a really good card. And then you have 3 Void Imagination, which is the best card in this deck, arguably. And you have 2 Call of the Grave, and the other one's in Spanish as an unfortunate terms of event. And you have Void Vanishment, just one of them. I will bump it up to 2, but I don't have the other one right now. Reasoning, Monster Gate, and last but not least, Foolish Burial. Now everyone knows what Foolish Burial does. Foolish Burial, straight up, what it does is send one monster from your deck directly to the grave. And you can use that to combo off anything out. For example, you're gonna be sending out something like any Lair of Darkness. I mean, any of including Jackers Diabolos if you want that, and you can combo off with that one. And you have Monster Gate. If you have Lair of Darkness on the field, you can tribute one of your opponent's monster instead. So this card can be summoned for free, activated for free, and just continue on to use special summon a monster. And reasoning, just your opponent declares one number from 1 to 12, and that's the number of stars. And if your opponent gains the ones that stars, you send it to the grave. And if it's not, you special summon it. If it can be special summoned, and all these cards I'm showing you right now cannot be special summoned except for these 3, and these 2, these 3, and of course her. And then of course the 2 kaijus, but you can even limit it to kaijus if you want to. But basically your options are, look at all these that will be sent to the grave. They should need them in the grave as much as possible. So that's a stack of cards going to the grave. You have Void Banishment, where you can do discard one void, one card, and add 1 void spell and track card from your deck to your hand. And basically, if you would destroy a monster by battle or something like that, you can just send this card after damage calculation. You can send this card to the grave, and you can banish that monster instead, which is really cool. And then, of course, you have here Call by the Grave. Everyone knows what Call by the Grave does. You can activate it as a quick effect. You can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, during the end phase, until the end phase of the next turn this card was activated, monsters with that same original name will have its effects negated. So basically it is a effect veiler, and at the same time as banishment, so it's a really great card. And you have 3 Void Imagination, which Void of Imagination, what it does is Inferno monsters you control whose original levels are 2 or lower become level 1, and all battle damage they inflict to your opponents is halved. You can send this card from your graveyard fusion, summon 1 Inferno Infusion monster from your extra deck when using monsters from your hand or field as a graveyard fusion material. If your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck and you do not, you can also use up to 6 monsters from your deck as fusion materials. You have Lair of Darkness. Basically, if you're going to activate an effect once per turn during this player's turn, if you're going to activate an effect of a monster that tributes something, oh no, any card that tributes something, you can choose to tribute one of your opponent's monster as if it's your own, and it makes every card on the field dark attribute. And plus, during the end phase of the turn, anything that was tributed in either player's fleet field, you can special summon a token. So yeah, basically give you more tokens to use for tributing, or if not, just flowing your opponent's whole field with tokens. And after the trap, we run 1 Void Launch, 3 Void Feast, and that's all we run for the traps. So basically when you use Lilith, you only use Void Feast. And Void Launch, what it does is you can, during this player's standby phases, you can send up to 2 Infernoid monsters from your deck to your graveyard. And of course, if you control a monster that is not an Infernoid monster, you can destroy this card from your spell and trap card zones. And you're going to be using this most of the times, rarely, since you're going to use it only when you're going to send more cards, and you have a lot of other cards that can send more cards than this one. You have Void Feast. Basically send one Infernoid spell and trap. No, my bad. You can just send 2 Void spell and trap cards. One, oh my god, I didn't even forgot this card. And then you can do, what you do is you can special summon monsters from your field or graveyard, up to 3 Inferno monsters from your deck, whose total level is exactly 8, ignoring their summoning conditions. This is gonna be awesome, because also you can, my bad, we can send 1 spell or trap from your hand or field. And of course, this is the combo off that I was talking about. You can just activate that and summon Sujeta and 2 Decatrons. Decatrons activate your effects to send 1 Onoku and 1 Deviati, and you have 1 monster negation and 1 spell negation from each one just for 1 activation. Plus, you have Chiete to give interruptions from the grave. And that's basically it when it comes to combo offense. It's great since your opponent actually can't do anything about it, but it's gonna lock you down when it comes to level if you don't have Void Imagination. But if you don't have Void of Imagination, Void Feast is the best one to go to. And yeah, and that is about it for the traps. For the extra, we have one number 77, the 7 Sins. That's one of the spiders, and we have another spider with number 84, Pain Gainer, and you have one True King of all calamities. These are all the XYZs for now. And you have number 21 Lancer, whatever, of the underworld. You have number 22 Zombie Stain, and you have number 11 Big Eye, one Liviar the Sea Dragon, and of course for the synchros we have one Psyframe Lord Omega and one Scarlight Dragon Arcfiend. And Scarlight Dragon Arcfiend, everyone knows what he does, especially some monsters on the field that have 3000 or less attack will be destroyed, and for each one your opponent takes damage for each one that was destroyed, burn damage. And he's basically an Arcfiend when it's on the field or graveyard, so you can use it if you want for some Arcfiend plays, but hey, this is not an Arcfiend build, so it's totally useless. And so yeah, so next up we have Psyframe Lord Omega. Psyframe Lord Omega, what he does is when he special summon, I think it's once per turn in your main phase, you can manage both this card and one card on the field, or in one round of cards your opponent's hand, and during the standby phase you can return them, and you can just keep interrupting everywhere, and you can keep getting more cards in your hand. It's just interruptions everywhere. You have Liviar the Sea Dragon returning banished monsters from your deck, from your banished zone, directly to the graveyard back again. And you can use it to special summon them. For example, you special summon like Decatron, you can special summon him again. Number 11 Big Eye, everyone knows what it does. Decatron material, target one monster your opponent controls, and you can take control of that monster permanently. And it's a soft once per turn, so if you have another one, I don't know, you can just do it twice. And you have number 22 Zombie Stain, and Zombie Stain, what it does is basically you can detach one. It's just send one card from your hand to graveyard, then target when your opponent controls, change it to defense position. If you do, that face-up card has its effects negated until the end of the turn, give you negation, more negations in there. And you have, of course, number 23. What it does is when your opponent controls, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and you can just destroy it when it's battling. And if not, if your opponent's going to activate something to destroy, you can just detach it instead. True King of all calamities, when you special summon, you can detach one material, declare one attribute, and anything of that attribute your opponent has is going to have their effects negated on the field or graveyard or hand, because it's going to be activated, period. Anything of that attribute. So within the base is going to be locking down your opponent of activating those cards of effects, and it's great when it comes to like comboing off for decks, for example like dark decks like Thunder Dragons, or like fire decks like Salamand Graves. You have number 77 as 70 Sins and Pain Gainer. And they're both going to be used for comboing off. For example, Pain Gainer, you can just special summon from your hand. Special summon him first with a level 10, and then special summon number 77 as well on top of him. And 77, what it does is special summon where you can banish all special summon monsters on the field during your opponent's turn. And that will summon that turn, and you can just choose one of those that was banished and attach it as an extra material. And if it's going to be destroyed, you can attach one material instead. And you have two Infernoid Tierra, two Infernoid Tierra, and then two Elder Entity Ints. Elder Entity Ints is a combo if you're going to use Tierra. Tierra can be summoned and you activate its effect that is continuous, just like Saruya. So for example, you're going to be activating and you send all these, for example 6, so it will go in continuous and 6 and go on, and then activate its first effect. You can send 3 monster cards from your extra deck, your opponent and you will send these 3. Entity Int's effect that you're only going to be using is the one that destroys one card on the field, and since it's all chain linked, yeah, of course you can chain link 1, 2, and 3, and it's 3 destructions just there for free, and your opponent has to, if he's going to negate one, it's just going to be 1, and if not, he's called with the grave, you can negate all of them. And then you have the other effect that you can send from the top of your deck to the grave, and that'd be 3 of them, and your opponent has to send 3 of them as well. And they basically all do the same thing. You're not going to be using the rest of them most of the times. It's just going to be those 2 effects, which are always going to be activated because you need to have 6 or more sent when this guy was fusion summoned with Void of Imagination. So yeah, guys, that's it for the deck profile. Hope you like it. I did as best as I could to make it better. And yeah, guys, so don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the like button, make that like button your bitch. And thanks for watching, guys. And just a second, give me a second here. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna give you something a little bit of a surprise. So I'm going to announce officially 100% the winner of the giveaway for the promo cards for Duel of Power. I'm so sorry, but here's the winner. So yeah, congratulations. I'm gonna be sending you a DM down there in the comment section below. I'm gonna be sending you guys some more information for the next giveaway if possible. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out.